You have got to be kidding me, Michael Snyder reports. By the time you're done reading the article, you may be tempted to tear your hair out. A substantial portion of the US population is deeply struggling in our current economic environment, but instead of focusing on helping Americans that are hurting, homeless, and hungry, our leaders are going to great lengths to make things better for those who have no legal rights to be in this country. Our priorities are way out of whack, and US voters are fed up. Immigration has become the hottest political issue during this campaign season, but many of our politicians still don't seem to understand why so many of us are so frustrated with what has been going on. Let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. It's been reported that more than half of all Americans over the age of 65 are living on incomes of $30,000 or less a year, and for some, the retirement crisis is already here. Just over half of Americans over the age of 65 are living on incomes of $30,000 or less a year, according to the Census Bureau's current population survey. The largest share, just under 23%, have incomes between $10,000 and $19,999. Millions of elderly Americans are barely surviving at this point. Meanwhile, the Biden administration has been flying hundreds of thousands of migrants that have no legal right to be here directly into the country. It means that while record numbers of migrants were flowing over the southern border last year, the Biden White House was also directly transporting them into the country. Use of a cell phone app has allowed for the near undetected arrival by air of 320,000 aliens with no legal rights to enter the United States. It comes after a controversy over a 2022 transportation program in which the administration used taxpayers' money to move migrants throughout the country on overnight flights. You have got to be kidding me. Let me just give you another example. Since 2020, the income needed to comfortably afford a home in the U.S. has gone up by 80%. According to Zillow, the income needed to comfortably afford a home in the U.S. has leapt 80% since 2020, far exceeding what the BLS reports has been a 23% increase in median household income over the same period. The real estate website found home buyers today need to make more than $106,000 a year, up $47,000 from 2020, a change driven largely by higher prices and borrowing costs. Housing costs have soared over the past 4 years, as drastic hikes in home prices, mortgage rates, and rent growth far outpace wage gains, said Orphe Divock-Diggy, the senior economist at Zillow. But instead of doing something about that, politicians in California actually want to provide interest-free home loans with no down payment required to newly arrived migrants. Assembly Bill 1840 would change existing law to allow illegal immigrants to be eligible for the California Dream for All Fund, which provides interest-free loans for a down payment on a home for first-time buyers. The bill was introduced by California Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula, a Democrat, who last month told GV Wire, a Fresno-based news outlet, that he wanted to ensure that qualified first-time homebuyers include undocumented applicants. You have got to be kidding me. Don't stop reading now because there's more. On Thursday, we learned that the number of layoffs in the U.S. last month was the highest total that we have seen during February since 2009. The pace of job cuts by U.S. employers accelerated in February, a sign the labor market is starting to deteriorate in the face of ongoing inflation and high interest rates. That is according to a new report published Thursday by Challenger Gray and Christmas, which found that companies planned 84,638 job cuts in February, a 3% increase from the previous month, and a 9% jump from the same time last year. It marked the highest layoff total for the month of February in data going back to 2009. That is terrible news. But instead of finding jobs for American workers, New York Governor Kathy Hochul wants to prioritize hiring newly arrived migrants for state jobs. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is pushing a plan to prioritize hiring illegal aliens for state jobs by eliminating certain requirements like the civil service exam and high school diploma. Well, another problem, my comment is they probably don't even speak English yet, or write or read properly in English. Now, the aim, she said, is to expedite the process for illegal immigrants to secure state jobs once they have work permits. You have got to be kidding me. Last but not least, let's talk about what's going on in Washington right now. In preparation for the State of the Union address, the large steel fence was being put up around the U.S. Capitol. Ahead of President Joe Biden's State of the Union address, what concerns do the political elites on Capitol Hill have that require security crews to erect a large steel fence around the immediate perimeter of the Capitol complex? In several posts on X, Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pegram said the steel, graded 12-foot fence around the Capitol complex was erected Wednesday night on the orders of the Secret Service. Apparently, our leaders in Washington have no problem with being protected by walls. Unfortunately, our southern border has been left wide open, and it is being estimated that approximately 10 million migrants have come pouring into this nation since Joe Biden entered the White House. The number of illegal immigrants in the country has roughly doubled under President Biden. The United States had some 10.2 million illegal migrants in 2020, and another 10 million have entered during Biden's presidency. If the 20 million illegal immigrants were all in one state, it would be tied with New York for the fourth most populated state. And here's even more worse news. If Biden wins a second term in office and there is no serious reform of U.S. immigration and asylum laws, both of which are very real possibilities, we can expect a continuing increase in the rate of immigrants crossing the border illegally. You have got to be kidding me. We already have tens of millions of people that are deeply suffering in this country. To allow millions more to come marching in does not make any sense at all. We can't even afford to take care of the people that we already have. We're completely broke, and we have been adding another $1 trillion to the national debt about every 100 days. We're literally committing national suicide, but most of our politicians don't seem alarmed by all this. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon.com. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Time, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News. And he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on the other websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and share his articles on your own social media account is definitely a great help. These are just troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.